Billy, where are you right now with where any and all of this is headed? Because now there's more to the story than even I knew. I was bringing you guys information I thought was shocking enough by itself, but now this has layers to it that I hadn't anticipated. So I'm learning along with the audience what is where this story ends. Where are you with how you feel so far about Stugotz really sniper finding the mark? Right, because you got to do there are 40
Objection.
people. Billy, you can be you can be John Reed's attorney if you want to be, but there were 30 people in the room, and he knew not to ask some of them to help him here. He knew who to ask specifically to get accomplished what he wanted, which is not have to show any care whatsoever about the people in the company, the holiday party, gifts, anything. He outsourced all of his holiday giving in a way that might have ensnared a colleague in a crime.
Allegedly. We're going to need full immunity to get this full story.
Okay, and you keep asking for that, and you don't give me what I need, which is what the group is thinking right now about what Stugotz did.
We don't know the full scope of what he allegedly may or may not have did and how he may or may not have bamboozled my good friend John here.
I can say with certainty it was bad and wrong.
I've been able to piece it together, and it's not surprising.
Come on, Mike.
No, this is not surprising
Mike,
at all.
you're not.
You asked for guesses at the start of this, and we guessed it exactly right.
No,
but we don't know that. We don't know that yet. Everything's an allegation at this point.
If everybody guessed correctly before the story was told, I think that is the very definition of not being surprised.
Agreed. I did sort of lead you there by giving you the information on the holiday party. It limits the amount of crimes available. I've got to tell you, though, Billy, your outfit
leading the witness
is
Objection.
absolutely cheap attorney. It is a cheap attorney's outfit.
Yeah.
You look so much like Saul Buena Gente.
Yeah, just
Hearsay.
base off this outfit, I think John Reed's going to jail.
No.
Yeah.
What?
Definitely.
John, stop.
John, we said do not speak.
John.
We said don't say a word.
Immunity or bust.
Okay.
Let the record show that the defendant thinks he's going to jail.
All right.
Strike that from the record, please.
John, I don't know how did this guy, wait a minute. Now everyone's fighting to be your attorney. I don't understand who made Jessica
Who's got the
judge.
cowboy hat, Dan?
John, this is where I'd like to start because I want to get all the details on this. So we have, I'm telling you, Mike Ryan, who's taken and making fun of me lately for being proud dad guy, made fun of me because during this holiday party when people were exchanging gifts and laughing, and I was moved by our company actually celebrating something together and seeming to enjoy itself, Stugotz did indeed request permission of multiple people to leave. And I told him, I'm not in charge of your schedule. I'm never in charge of your schedule. My answer has been consistent about that because I don't want him to feel like I'm his boss. You make your own decisions here. But he asked permission on things he knows are wrong. Like he knows he was the only one who wasn't at the holiday party. We were all working very hard. I don't know, though, John, when he recruited you. Like, what is the context? Is it the day before? Does he want to put no effort into his gift? How did he find you, and how did he get you to do this?
This was literally like an hour before the show started. But I will say this. If I had known he wasn't going to show up at the actual gift giving, I would have never put myself in this position.
I like that. That's great. Good. Stick to that.
And so he tells you how much to spend. Does he give you any money? Does he give you any guidelines? Where's he sending you and how?
Well, he pulls out $20, but I didn't take it because I knew that I could put it on the company card and expense
Oh,
it.
hold up. Hold on a second. Wait.
Sorry.
Whoa. He gave
So he gave you money.
He tried to give me $20.
Correct. Okay.
But I didn't have the gift yet, so I didn't want to take his money.
Well, I think that we need to start looking into what happened here and how premeditated this was. At what time did he ask you to leave early, Dan?
Oh, right before the holiday party was starting.
But he sent John allegedly on this gift-finding adventure an hour before the show started. So it seems like maybe there was never any intent for Stugotz to attend this party at all.
You don't say.
You're his attorney, I thought. I don't know why it is you would betray
Co-chair.
Stugotz, the money behind this scam operation. So $20, what was the gift maximum and minimum? What was the recommended amount of money for?
$40
For
Which
for
is
one gift.
kind of high.
May I speak with my attorneys, please?
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
I actually did volunteer to give him $20 towards the gift, but
So hold on. You volunteered
You said
to
you
give
were
your
gonna give him
$20
money.
along with his $20?
yes, because we had other coworkers that needed a gift as well, and so I was just in a generous mood. So it wasn't just Stu, but I don't want to name any other names.
Who are they? Just so
Hold
we
on.
know.
Yeah,
But
we
now
think
this is a
we could
RICO
use the
case.
We
Yes.
could hold on. This is
Well,
what we
very
can
kind
do
of
is we
him,
can
so-
use this to leverage immunity.
Is it
Yes.
down the road?
Well,
So
here's
hold
my
on.
problem, my personal. I was already in hot water from a situation in Iowa.
Don't worry about that. Hey, that is across state lines. We do not
exactly
worry
what
about
that
that.
is.
So-
Turn off the microphone.
All right,
really
sorry,
quick. Turn off the microphone
Don't
really
need to
quick.
go
Dano,
droning on and on. You know what I mean?
Dano, listen. We've got names that we are willing to give you.
I am dying to tell that story. I am dying. They won't let me tell that story of what happened in Iowa. I started to tell that when we were in California, and all
I want that stricken from the record, by the way.
all I will tell the audience,
Overruled.
masking as much of this as I can for Lucy, John Reed, who
No
previously
one mentioned Lucy.
Immunity. Lucy needs.
I don't know what you're
Lucy's
talking about.
not
Lucy's not a part of it.
Immunity.
RICO
Lucy-
case.
Where did
keeps
John
growing.
go?
Lucy Lips sinks ships.
As Lucy's lawyer.
You know what? Jail for Jeremy.
Yeah, that's
Jeremy's
fair.
got to go.
Yeah, he's gotta go.
John Reed's hot water before the Iowa hot water was showing up at a Panthers press box in full Panthers regalia, practically dressed as Stanley C. Panther.
Presented to the court exhibit A.
Fine.
I have in my hands the actual Matthew Tkachuk jersey. By the way, Matthew, let's get it going, man. Yeah. Slow start to the
I'd have to
season.
see John in that actual jersey to see if that fits, by the way. I don't know if that fits John.
How do you know it was John?
I was an eyewitness. It's my jersey. I lent it to John.
Jersey doesn't fit. You must have quit.
Boom.
John Reed showed up and embarrassed Meadowlark Media by being a fan. Although I think I need to let go of my previous journalistic standards, given what Jessica and Lucy and Mike and Billy are doing to try and change the form of how news and information is given in the media space. So maybe we should have more fandom with our journalism. No one's got more than Jessica.
I gave up all journalistic credibility when I came here, Dan. So
And-
3 years free
Yes.
from journalism.
That is correct. And John Reed was in hot water. And Lucy, I'm going to try. And Mike, help me out here, okay, with wherever the guardrails on this, because I don't know what's sensitive here. I've tried to talk about it before. I don't want to get anyone in actual trouble. But John Reed found himself in a situation in Iowa where he was in trouble with legitimate authorities because of something he and Lucy were trying
Allegedly.
to accomplish
Well, let's
together.
call Lucy to the witness stand.
For content. Lucy, please, I don't want to speak for you here, but I don't know where your discomforts are either. What can be said? And I should tell the audience, Lucy has fame in Iowa that predates us. Lucy is a known person around college football
She
in
has
Iowa.
influence there, which was helpful, allegedly.
Lucy is a bit of a star around Iowa football, even though she's always laughing at Iowa football. It's one of my favorite things. But you also are a polarizing figure because some people think you should be more respectful of the program.
Yeah, let's just say the Iowa Athletics Department, I am not their favorite person. So we went into this event at Iowa, allegedly, supposed to be on our best behavior, and that did not happen.
Yeah.
That's all you can say, Lucy. That's fine.
Well, that's
Do
all
not worry
she
about it.
Tony's representing me,
We've
please.
gone far enough.
Oh,
What
that's-
did John Reed do at this Iowa
We
game?
will not
It was-
mention that.
It was a game in the football.
Can
It was
I
a
say
women's
it?
basketball
Can
game.
I say it?
Yeah, go for
I
it.
don't know.
Go for it.
There's definitely like
Actual laws that were broken? Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
and federal agencies.
But by-
involved.
Well,
I
someone who
apologize.
looked like John Reed was flying a drone over the open
It was
airspace over the
airspace. It was airspace
over
related.
this basketball court, and the authorities got involved and said, "Hey, guy or girl, you can't be flying a drone over restricted airspace. This is a problem."
It was a mistake. It was an error by Meadowlark Media. It was an error by John Reed.
Uncertain who the error was by. Was the person wearing a Matthew Tkachuk jersey?
Okay, fine. Maybe it was. Circumstantial evidence suggests that our video person with the drone might have been involved. But
Well, he was
perhaps
holding the remote control.
Perhaps
so.
it wasn't him. But authorities did descend upon him? How many of them descended upon him?
I do not know because I was busy working. I was
I like
watching
that.
Caitlin
There you
Clark.
go.
Atta girl.
So I do not know how it happened, but I did give somewhat of a statement to a police officer.
And now comes news that Stugotz found the exact person to go to get his gift purchased on the company card. It sounds like, though, Stugotz has enough in the way of cash and laziness to obscure the fact that he didn't actually need John Reed to commit a crime for him. John Reed chose that route all his own.
That is debatable.
I don't know about that.
What do you mean you don't know about that?
We don't know about that.
We've covered what is fact here. None of this is a bit.
He's an accomplice.
Our client was duped.
Well,
Psychologically.
that part's a bit.
Hoodwinked, bamboozled.
Psychologically duped.
The part that Tony and Billy are his attorneys. What John Reed is rushing back to the witness stand here. Hold on, we'll get your microphone.
Let
on.
me say this: I'm a bit of a renegade, realist here. And
Be careful.
when we shot your music video last year, which got I think 40,000 views or so, I put a drone up on South Beach. It was a beautiful music video. That's true. The authorities did come after and talk to me,
I remember.
and we got away with it.
You're a guerrilla.
When I
artist.
went,
Okay.
hold on, one more.
Guerrilla journalist.
When I went to Vegas with Mike Ryan and Chris Cody and Roy, I put a drone up on the Las Vegas Strip, which it's actually up on our YouTube right now. If you go look at Chris and Roy in Vegas, so you either love me or hate me. That's true. And sometimes you got to take a little risk here.
Yeah.
Agreed.
In order to succeed.
So
get the
2 of the
biscuit.
3 times that you put a drone into the air, authorities came to talk to you about it.
Yeah, and the police helped me in Vegas.
There you go.
Wow, so all 3 times.
Entrapment.
John, that's all of which is
You
incriminating.
would think around the
Like,
It's
3rd
not- hold
time
on. It-
at
no,
a
no,
sporting
no.
event, you'd be like,
It is a baseline,
This is
Dan.
all
It's a baseline.
unrelated to what we were talking about to begin with anyways and needs to be tossed immediately.
When he stormed
this
in
has
here-
absolutely nothing to do with the holiday party. And you know what? Mistrial.
When John Reed stormed in here, the thought that went through my head was he is most certainly going to further incriminate himself. And he did not disappoint.
It's fairly amazing.
Those were
Let
legal
it be
acts.
stricken from the
Thank
record.
you.
The police helped, Daniel.
He just told the judge, do you know how many more crimes I've committed?
Sorry.
I've noticed with the Meadowlark executives, they're a bit camera shy, a bit light shy. Sometimes when they're on air for the first time, it can be intimidating. We did this the other day to Taylor in a way that was unpleasant. It can be a little intimidating if you've been following the show for a while and take seriously the nonsense we're doing around here. Getting your first mic time can be like making a speech in front of a lot of people. You know that you're being listened to by millions of downloads a week. And so some people get scared with all the hot lights, and I wanted to get John Reed just, in the interest of being an employer who cares about people and their comfort, just getting him into a more comfortable, intimate space that is slightly less scary, where he's not surrounded by all of you and all of the intimidations that involves. So let's just get him to a quieter place so that I can ask him some questions about what happened with Stugotz. But before I get to John Reed and details on this story that I need to hear, because I really am learning this for the first time, and I don't know how devious Stugotz was here or how bad John Reed's just general judgment is, and he just committed a crime for Stugotz without intending to commit a crime for Stugotz. Jessica and Lucy have been dog advocates publicly, privately. Amin doesn't like that Willow is around. Willow is famous now. She is getting recognized in the streets. Lucy rented a dog for a while. We buried her unfairly. She did a lovely thing for a dog and helped raise awareness that dogs can use a little bit of love and you can rent them for 12 hours at a time. You did a wonderful, nice thing for charity. We buried you for it. How has Jessica been involved with any of your dog experiences? I saw the other day at a Laker game, somebody brought a dog courtside. I did not know that was allowed. That seems like a danger. If an NBA player gets bitten by a dog that is, spooked by noise.
What if they need him to come in off the bench?
The
Airbud
dog?
situation.
The dog.
No one says the dog can't play basketball.
No one does say that. I saw a dog
Famous line from Airbud.
jumping
That's not a real dog,
rope.
Dan.
That
That
doesn't-
is someone in a dog suit.
That doesn't look like a real dog,
You
does
were
it?
fooled
The
again.
guy next to him hates it, by
That
the
is
way.
a person in a dog suit. That's not a real dog.
it's
That
a-
dog has legs, human legs
no,
coming
it's-
out of its hind legs.
It's a real dog.
Why was it there? Was it a comfort dog of some sort?
It's apparently it's a famous TikTok dog that is also a service animal, and it was allowed
Not that
to be
famous. Lucy
courtside.
and I haven't heard of it.
Can you tell me what you guys have been doing recently that is dog-related sharing?
So when I took Miss Dolly out of the shelter, which, by the way, this is a thing you can do at a lot of shelters. We found you could do it in my hometown, so look into it if you guys are looking to take a dog out for the day. But so when I took Miss Dolly out, we went to lunch and we're just chilling, and Jess and Priya came to meet us there because they wanted to meet Dolly. Obviously, she lived up to all the expectations and more, and we're sitting there and we're enjoying our time with Dolly, and this guy walks by with one of the cutest little husky puppies we've ever seen. So Jess and I are like, wow, what a cute dog. And he's like, thanks. Do you want to buy it? And we're like, I'm sorry, excuse me? He's like, yeah, I'm selling this dog. I found it in my neighborhood and I'm selling it. And we're like, hey, you cannot sell a dog that you just found. Priya was just the hero of our story and was like, you are a bad person for selling a dog that you have found.
Priya basically immediately instilled shame into this man. So then he sat down next to us and was like, well, why shouldn't I be able to sell this dog? And she's like, this is terrible karma. You can't, like, you should not make money off of a living thing. This could be someone's pet. And then Lucy was like, we can take it to the vet. We can see if it has a microchip. Where did you find it? Blah, blah, blah. We started asking him a million questions. I was like, how much are you selling it for? He was like, $400. And I was like, I don't have that on me, but like, maybe we should just buy it and then figure out what to do. And then these other people came out of the restaurant and they were like, what's going on? And then we told them the whole saga. So then they got involved. And then all 6 of us were just bullying this guy into giving over the puppy because this puppy, it was so sad. It was tiny. It was so scared. It had burrs sticking out of its fur. It was limping. It was just like the most afraid little puppy I've ever seen in my life. And we were like, we need to do something about this.
And he made it seem like he had found a stray dog. So we were asking about where he found it. He would not tell us exactly where he found it. He said, my neighborhood. Then we were like, where is that? He's like, 25 to 30 blocks away. We're like, do you not know where you found the dog or where you live? And he was like, I found the dog with a collar. And we're like, hey, if that dog has a collar, that's probably someone's dog. And he's
also
like,
a
no, it's not.
purebred husky.
Yeah, it was a purebred puppy. And we were just like fighting with this guy back and forth because he was like, no, I'm going to sell this dog that I found. Why can I not profit from helping this dog? I'm going to give it a good home. And you're like, if you're just giving the dog to someone on the street, you don't know if it's going to a good home. And he kept saying, why are you trying to make me feel so bad?
All of you shamed this man, and this is a distinctly Miami grift where someone thinks that taking someone else's pet and selling it wouldn't be something that would hurt the pet owner.
He was so afraid of Priya. So afraid. She put the fear of God into him.
It seems like she led the angry mob of, it wasn't just you two that rose up to indignance. You then got random restaurant goers to get in on your angry mob to shame this person who was, a nefarious capitalist.
Trying to make a buck.
So it then progressed to where Priya was like, you know what? Fine. I'll give you $100 if you give me the dog.
And she had cash on her.
She had
Thank
cash.
God.
Gave him $100, and then he went to the other people who we were with, and he was like, I heard you said you had $50. So he got
bidding war.
$150 and was like, fine, we'll just go. And so the other group were like, someone had a husky before, so she was like, these dogs run away a lot. So they took the puppy, took it to a vet to see if it had a chip in it. It did not. They have since been taking care of it. We trust them. But it was a really eventful lunch. And the whole time, Dolly is just sitting there like a little angel, not causing any problems. And I was like, with the group there, when we were in between arguing, I was like, hey, do you guys want to meet Dolly? She is available for adoption if you're interested in dogs. She's a great girl.
Look, let's be very, very clear. I'm not for stealing of animals whatsoever.
Except for ducks.
Those you can take. That's not stealing. You can just take those.
Those are free.
Those are free. Again, not the point. The point is, if you steal a dog and then resell it, not good. If you find a dog that perhaps maybe belonged to somebody, perhaps may not, may have fallen off the turnip truck. You don't know. I should, not me, excuse me, somebody should, huh?
How old are you, turnip truck? What?
I was trying to relate to Dan, sorry.
Wow, you're trying to speak my language.
Whoa.
That was a little, Jessica, go sit in the penalty box.
No, she can't. half her body will be gone.
Well,
Look
let's
at these
try it.
pants.
Priya and Dolly lead the woke mob is an
It
interesting.
did sound like a real life Twitter argument playing out.
What if
With
this-
all sorts of virtue signaling and some sincere people, other people like, yeah, I guess I'll join the fray. Shame on you.
It's like, you got $100 or not?
What if this other couple was in on it with the guy? Like this was their dog, and then the guy's there, and he tries to do this shakedown, and these are now allies of yours. You get the $100 from you guys, and then they're like, well, we have 50, and then they know they're going to get it back right away. And this is like a traveling con artist family circus type thing.
Suckers are born every minute, Dano.
Yeah, I just want to go back for a second. So you believe I come from a time when America was replete with turnip trucks? Just
Well,
to
you know,
be-
the phrase turnip truck
be-
to connect with you.
To
Yeah.
be clear, thank you for speaking my
Big year
language.
for turnips last
If I was
year.
going to rizz you up, it'd be a different story, but you know.
All right, so let's go to John Reed here. And Jessica, you're a legitimate journalist. Can you get to the bottom of this story? Can you do some work while you're in the penalty box here and just get to the bottom of what is the truth of this story and how much crime Stugotz was trying to commit and how much was spent on the gifts, how much was charged to the company, what were the gifts? I'd like some more details, please.
Don't say anything, Sean.
I'm a little afraid for John generally because as he was being interrogated about what seemed like a potentially like gray area ethical issue, he admitted to actual crimes.
No.
Did not?
So I'm going to step out and let him handle this because he's the only one who really knows the truth.
Okay.
I feel
fine.
more comfortable with you.
All right, Jessica. No, Jessica's leaving this to me. I'm going to do this alone here with John Reed.
John, you can have an attorney present, by the way.
This is all very uncomfortable. All right, John Reed, how much did you spend on the gifts?
$68.
What did you buy?
I bought a throwback Tony Kukoc Bulls jersey, which was very popular in the white gifts exchange from what I
Yes, it was stolen.
Yes.
And there were
not
white
a
people.
crime if you guys remember
Was
that.
not a
All of
white-
a sudden,
wait a minute.
we
It
were
was
looking,
taken by a white
not
person.
a crime. Apparently.
Sorry.
Wait a minute.
I didn't mean white gift
Well,
exchange.
Don't worry, John. We're
White
good
elephant,
here.
white
think
we're
gifts,
good.
it's fine.
We're
Didn't
good.
Jeff
Don't
pick
worry.
it first and then someone stole it from Jeff?
You know what?
I would like to consult with my attorneys, please.
Thank you.
Before
You're
any-
fine. Don't worry.
I didn't take it because I already have one. Actually, though.
This was indeed a white gift exchange when the Tony Kukoc jersey was wildly popular.
It was taken initially by Jeff.
Did you buy anything else, or was that the only gift? Was that $68, or there was a second thing?
Well, it was two things. It was a hoodie and also a Bulls jersey, but I took back the hoodie because I didn't want to get caught.
No, not caught.
do you mean?
What
Caught
that?
is a
no,
bad
no,
word.
no,
What do you
wrong
mean?
word.
What do you
I
mean
think what we
caught?
should be celebrating here is John sounds like he bought multiple presents for this exchange, all for under $68.
Well, I must say this. I was doing my job as the producer. This is my job to make things happen. This is my job to make sure
produce.
that the talent is happy. And Stugotz seemed unhappy that he didn't have time to go out and purchase a gift. So I stepped in as a producer and made it happen.
The hoodie, where was the hoodie? Did it get part of the exchange, or the hoodie you just took the hoodie and went home with it?
I decided to return the hoodie and get the candles.
yes,
Because
good,
the candle,
yes.
I realized that we do have a lot of ladies that work with us.
Well,
that
everyone likes candles.
No one
I love
really
candles.
wants a lot of sneakers and
We all like
jerseys,
sports,
and
though.
so I decided to buy candles.
Yeah.
For the ladies.
A diversity of gifts.
Yes.
The candles were very popular. Greg Cody ended up with a candle at the end. Did Stugotz thank you for doing any of this? Did he didn't tell you clearly that he wasn't coming? How was it framed at the party that these were the gifts that Stugotz bought through you?
Well, he definitely didn't thank me. I haven't seen him since he had me to go out and get the gifts.
On the lamb.
How does the group feel? All right. Are there any other questions? And how does the group feel?
It's still unclear what the actual crime was here.
And if you're going to give your immunity or
It
not.
sounds like, if anything, he just did a friend a favor.
And Dan, I must say this. You know, the new year is coming. I don't think you should harbor all these ill will feelings towards me. I'm a very responsible father of 3. And, you know, I made a mistake with the
Bonafides?
drone in Iowa.
Bonafides.
And here's to my defense in Iowa. There's nothing else to do in Iowa but fly a drone.
All right. We
No,
can't.
no,
we can't
no,
defend
no,
this.
no.
John,
Yeah, we're gonna stop.
You're
Everybody
making
stop.
it worse. John, get out of there.
Sustained.
You're making it worse. We do not have any problem with Iowa. Iowa was kind enough to allow us all the access that we wanted. Lucy and John made great content, and we are grateful that the Iowa authorities and Kirk Ferentz, and nobody arrested John Reed for violating airspace in a way that seems dangerous in 2023. 2023 is not very media responsible. We are grateful to the good people of Iowa for being kind and generous to Meadowlark Media when Meadowlark Media committed airspace violations.
Allegedly.
Possibly.
And I did send an apology letter to the entire athletic staff
Very
and
good.
department. So
Handwritten
That's
too.
great. There
Yes.
you go.
All right.
Dan, it's the end of the year. Should all acquaintance be forgot? You know what I mean? And never brought to mind.
Powerful
All
words.
acquaintance be forgot. And the days of auld lang syne.
I never knew that those were the
Rest in
lyrics. I understand like 4 of those words too. I thought it was acquaintance. I'm like, yeah, I forget a lot of acquaintances. I'm bad with names.
I thought it was acquaintance.
It is acquaintance. What did I say?
You said acquaintance or something.
I'm not the one on trial here. John did it.
Correct me if I'm wrong on this. Because Jessica is such a giant Notre Dame fan, I feel like all of us sort of remember where we were or how the sport was shifting somehow when Brian Kelly decided to leave the prestigious institution of Notre Dame before money changed everything to join the SEC and make big-time football even bigger-time football. The coach at Notre Dame, that's supposed to mean something, and you go from there to LSU. It felt to me like we were all like, oh, that's interesting that they would compete that way against Saban. They're going to get the popular CEO from Notre Dame. And it seems like since then, because so much about the sport has changed, that feels more and more like we all overreacted to a hire just because it was the first one that sort of shook the economy of this sport. And we all now realize, well, there are probably 10 Brian Kellys you can get as long as you make sure that one of them that you have is someone who can run the business of the sport or figure out how to live in a changing sport. But it seems like every bit of Brian Kelly news or optics since then has been something to shame him as some sort of clown.
Well, okay. There are several things in that intro that I somewhat object to. I think the reason that he was hired at LSU was a reaction to a lot of the big contracts that other head coaches were getting around the same time and years previous. And he left because they were offering him like $90 million guaranteed dollars for 10 years or something like that to coach. I can't remember the exact terms. But now that he's at LSU, and I don't know why this didn't happen as much when he was at Notre Dame, because he was still doing kind of the same corny things. Like there were several Brian Kelly memes that maybe I was the only one paying attention to because I was in like Notre Dame land, of him like doing the peace sign while he was kneeling down or doing like, you know, dances and stuff like that in signing day videos. And now he's doing that at LSU, and it feels like everything's getting amplified like 20 or 30 times more than it did there. But he's been the same guy the whole time. Like he's the same coach that made a very poorly delivered joke about wanting to execute his players after the Florida State Notre Dame game in 2021.
I would love to hear the perfectly executed joke on
John
that.
McKay did it perfectly in the 70s, that same joke, and somehow Brian Kelly not only butchered it, but was copycatting it as well.
Yeah, part of it is like it his act kind of flew in Indiana, where it's just everything about Brian Kelly in the Bayou seems like an odd fit. And he confirmed all of that when he put on an accent in his first introduction to LSU Nation when he said his family.
Maybe that's it. I think maybe that was such a viral moment that now every subsequent thing has become like part of his ongoing weirdness there. But yeah, like you're onto something, because Brian Kelly he's from Massachusetts. He's Irish. He was a coach at a bunch of schools in the Midwest before he went to Notre Dame. And even though he was a very polarizing figure at Notre Dame, he won a lot of games, and fans kind of put up with him being a weirdo sometimes and thinking he was really funny at times during interviews, but not really being that funny. And the fact that it's such a weird fit seemingly at LSU, and he put on a Southern accent briefly for some reason, I think has amplified that to a group of people that maybe weren't following him before.
You know what's been really weird about this year with Brian Kelly, and despite having several losses, all the people voting on rankings still rate them highly, is he's taking the Jayden Daniels Heisman Trophy win as a pretty big Brian Kelly accomplishment to kind of satiate anybody that might have an issue with their, I think, subpar performance since he arrived. You have to give him some credit for a transition, I guess, but that's not really what the sport's about, individual accomplishments. And it seemed at a certain point in the season, he knew that that's what the aim was and that's what the goal was. And he's conflated that with overall success, and he seems to be relishing in it.
Well, you have to recruit however you recruit, and I've got a quarterback who averages a first down every time that he touches the football. Is the best thing that he's got to sell. I'm more interested when, Jessica, you're objecting to whatever it is that I'm saying there. I just view that spot going from Notre Dame to LSU got everyone's attention, and it seems like we've gotten nothing but corny from him since, including this now that you have, and we have the still images up of Brian Kelly apparently doesn't know how to do the Heisman pose, but I was of the feeling when Brian Kelly switched schools, it was the SEC saying some form of that we don't even have to be Alabama or Georgia to steal Notre Dame's genius, resident leader guy who's going to be better at leadership than others, and what he's done publicly since then shows corny judgment, correct?
Well, I think it was LSU's athletic director saying, like, I'm going to make a splashy hire here because that's what I do. I'm the guy that makes splashy hires.
Splash.
At athletic departments. Like, he hired Kim Mulkey the year before and gave her the highest salary of any women's basketball coach. And then he hired Brian Kelly. So I think there is something. I'm done. I can't do this next to problematic Joe Zagacki having the hots for Kim Mulkey. I'm sorry. This is where I draw the line.
Something about her.
Two of them. I draw the line.
You're surrounded
They
by.
call it a je ne sais quoi.
You're surrounded by
Sequence really gets me.
I'm sorry about that.
Political views. Don't forget those.
Billy, you are looking forward to this break more than most, I would assume, given the fact that you get a reprieve from the insanity that is 15 hours of chasing Stugotz around every day.
Hopefully.
But you have fallen how far behind on all of your viewing, given that God Bless Football and two children are chewing up your life? What are you watching these days on television? Are you still with the reality shows?
Well, I have games 4 and 5 of the World Series still that I'm going to get to now this coming week, and I'm pretty excited because I was tipped off and I know what's going to happen. But I could probably skip those. So I have the World Series. I also have, I don't know how you guys deal with like cues on different, streaming platforms or whatever, but like I'll see a movie or whatever and then I'll put it in my queue. And I've realized over the past, I don't know, however long it's been, I don't actually ever go back and watch any of that
Neither
stuff
do I.
ever.
Neither
My
do
queue
I.
is full of things that I tell myself that I'm going to watch that I'm not going to watch. But recently I've been seeing things like a movie or two on like each thing, but I don't want to put in my queue because I know that that's like a death sentence for this thing. So I'm going to make a handmade list, and I have like 6 or 7 movies that I want to watch. I have shows I want to catch up on. I have to catch up on Hard Knocks. There's lots of things, Dan. Reality shows. Yesterday, Survivor ended. Dee from Miami won Survivor. Spoiler alert. In like an incredible badass move at the end when you do the things with the jury where you're talking. She was leading on this poor little boy, Austin, and they fell in love, and it was such an adorable story, and she lied to him. And he confided in her that one of her allies, this is all spoiler alerts for anyone that still watches Survivor that's under the age of whatever.
It's just David Sampson.
Well, so anyways.
Do any of you watch Survivor?
No one.
I've never seen a single episode of Survivor.
It was a great season.
I saw the David Sampson episode.
Well, anyway, so he told her like they were gonna eliminate her friend, and then she went and she told her friend, and her friend used an immunity idol and saved herself, and then eliminated someone, and then she eliminated his best friend and didn't tell him so that he couldn't save his friend, and she lied to him, and she said I didn't tell her, and it was a whole thing. We don't need to, this isn't about Survivor though. This isn't about Survivor. She made him look like such a dummy though in the finale. Because in the finale, he was there. The jury was like, she didn't do this. And he's just defending her. He's like, no, she didn't ruin that plan. She didn't tell Julie that she was going to do that. And then she turns, she goes, let me stop you. I did tell Julie, and I lied to you about that. And boom, that's how she won the $1 million buckaroos. Anyways, what were we talking about?
I was asking you what you were going to be watching over the next 10 days because it seems like your whole plan for the new year, your resolution is to simply get caught up on everything. I did want to ask the group, do you guys get to anything in your queue? Because if I put it in the queue, it's because I didn't want to watch it then, but I was thinking maybe I'll want to watch it later, but then I never go back there.
Okay, that's the thing. And I was talking to Master before when we were out here, and we were kind of like aligned on this. I will put something in my queue, and I'll be like, I'm not going to watch this right now, but I'm going to get to it, and then spend 40 minutes looking for other things to watch, and then deciding, there's just nothing on here, and then I leave. And that's why things stay in my queue, because I decided I'm going to see this at some point in time, but absolutely never go back and watch it, ever. And even if you do watch it, here's a follow-up question for the class, if anyone cares to participate in this conversation. Here's a follow-up question. If you do go into the queue and watch things, do you remove it from your queue?
I think, don't they self-remove if you watch them? No?
I've never watched anything in my queue. I don't know how it works.
I've been watching The Crown for like 20 years, it feels like.
Really?
I don't have
It's
a queue.
the new season.
I don't have a queue.
Me
Everyone
neither,
has a
Mike.
queue.
No,
I don't have a
one
queue.
either.
No, everyone has a
I don't
queue.
have
My
a
queue's
queue.
in my notes app.
I go into Ken Burns' documentary on the Roosevelts knowing that it'll take me a year and a half to finish. And I'm proud to report I am on track.
Do you want a queue?
No, I don't have time. It's just always Coco Melon and like.
That's the
Baby
thing is
Shark,
you
and
ask me what I'm gonna watch, and it's
a
like
hostage in my own
probably
house.
The Grinch 600 times, and probably Sing 2 another 50 times, but I've seen it so many times.
Sounds like you have a problem with your queue, Billy. Maybe you should join QAnon.
Get out.
That's in my queue.
It's really good.
It is good.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
QAnon?
Adam McKay special, yeah.
McKay
You know,
did
there's like
that.
a new QAnon bubbling, and it's on MV Purdy. Like the Brock Purdy fans out there are deeply passionate about it, and if you trifle and you don't put respect on Brock Purdy's name, they will come after you.
Purdy is the new Tua.
Yes.
Purdy is the new Tua.
Yeah, in terms of social media engagement, Brock Purdy gets it done. You should probably talk more about MV Purdy.
Let me clarify something. I was saying that Get Out is in my queue, not the QAnon thing.
The QAnon thing is really good, though.
It is really
It's
good.
really good.
Let's clarify. The QAnon documentary, not QAnon itself.
Yeah, you
Speak
get
for
it,
yourself.
Jeremy.
Well, I thought it was important considering where our, conversations went yesterday on Aaron Rodgers, that loser.
Please stop calling him a loser. I want more Zagacki pining for Kim Mulkey. Hubba hubba.